Pastor, and what an honor and a privilege it is to be welcomed into your home. And what a week it has been in the stock market. This is the fifth losing week in a row, and the stock market seems that there's no stopping it going to the downside. This Iranian wars is actually continuing to drag on, and we are seeing the Iranian people are not giving up. We knew this was going to happen. This is going to be drawn out. We don't know what the effects of it, but the stock market is really feeling the effects of all this war, the gas prices. Many people are feeling the pinch. You start people just really starting to increase charges for services of goods and services because of the price of diesel. You're starting to see certain people paying $5 for diesel, and you're starting to see that a lot of the truck drivers are feeling the pinch. $5 diesel is very expensive, and you start adding that into the normal day-to-day person who's doing construction or who has a service type of business, HVAC, plumbing. This hurts a lot of people. I don't know what the price of gas is in your area, but if you want to put how much is the price of gas in your area and what city, I want to know how much the prices of gas. And I'm guessing I know a couple of states will probably win it out, but we're starting to see high prices everywhere. We're starting to see that market news. It says in the Yemen's the Houthi launch Israel strike first time since the U.S. Israel war began. We're starting to see that Iran is starting to kind of call up their allies, but we are seeing that possibly there could be a chance for peace or some type of discussions, but I don't see that happening every time soon. Many people who were bullish on the Trump administration are now seeing and are getting a rude awakening that this is not happening straight up like they thought it was. Many people who have 401ks are now feeling the pinch. You're seeing people who have lost 20, 30% of their 401k portfolio this year alone. So you're starting to see many people who are feeling the pinch. Many US citizens are disgruntled with what is happening. All this talk about the build out for AI, we're starting to see that it's not coming to fruition, and we're seeing many people being laid off. This is the one thing I'm more hopeful and I'm bullish on America. But you're starting to see that we were very optimistic about this build out that was supposed to happen. We have to understand that AI needs power, and power we have is nuclear power, and we have so few of it because of all the regulations that we have had. You're starting to see that building a new nuclear plant, it's not a 1 year project, it's not a 2 year project. Some of these projects take 3 to 7 years to completion. Do we have that much time? So all this conjunction with that AI needs all this power, which we don't have enough grid power to power all this stuff. And that's why you've seen a lot of slow build out. All this optimism that people thought this was going to happen in a year or a couple of months. I mean, this is not the way things get built out. Now, could there be an acceleration of how fast things gets built out with maybe cutting some regulation from the EPA? That's all up to uh, Chairman, I think it's Lee Zeldin, who's the chairman of the EPA board. It's up to him to see what kind of regulations are cut, because that's the thing that drives a lot of these EPA, a lot of these nuclear plants from being built, is that all the regulation that is involved in building this. So you got to cut a lot of red tape or environmental stuff. So there's a lot of things that go into play into building these nuclear plants. So that's not an overnight thing. Now, could you say, hey, in the next 10 to 15 years, we could see the build out? I can see that. I can see that, but I think we are too overly optimistic. Yes, it's good to have vision. Yes, it's good to say, oh, the United States has great technology that's going to move the world forward. And AI is not something new. I know it's been the buzzword for the last 6 7 years, but it's not something new. Steve Jobs was talking about this in the early 2000s. AI is not something new. If we have it now, the military has already had it before. So anything new, military already has access to first. So that's where you start seeing that we get the hand me downs of technology that is now is ready for the public consumption. So AI has been around for years. So this is not something that's fully developed, but the build out to what we want to get to is going to take several years. It's not a quick build out. Now, is it good for this administration to give us optimism and give us hope and give us a little taste or vision of what the United States could look like in several years? Yeah, I'm all for that. But the build out is going to be very slow. Now, the one thing that could help the build out is cryptocurrency. My opinion, the United States has a $38 trillion problem, and it owes the Federal Reserve over $38 trillion in US dollars for all the debt and all the money we have borrowed throughout the years. That's a huge problem. And when you start equaling it out, I believe, if I remember correctly, that it averages out to about 300,000 per tax paying US citizen. So that's a big load of debt that as soon as your son and daughter's born, they already got a big bill on them. So you start adding all that factored in, and you have to look at the US needs something else like the petrodollar, like something that will give it like the US dollar, like it's the currency, the last world currency, the backed it's kind of the currency of last resort. So you start looking at, we're looking for something that'll help propel us. We have printed so much money. The United States is in trouble. If you look at it from an economic standpoint, optimism, okay, yeah, we're hopeful but from an economic standpoint, we can't keep kicking this can down the road. So I'm believing that crypto could be, I'm not saying it is, but it could be the thing that maybe the US tries to peg the US dollar now to cryptocurrency. Now, is it going to be Bitcoin? And that's the thing, is that I don't know. Because if you only have a finite amount of Bitcoin, well, who controls it? Who's the country really behind that? And I put myself in the place of, is the Federal Reserve going to just allow for someone else who we don't even know who's controlling it to just take over the monetary policy? And that's the one thing that I try to put myself in that position. Now, could the Federal Reserve maybe come up with a crypto that it's universal? That's yet to be seen. And we have to understand, we're in a system. We are in a system. So as a Christian based believers, we have to operate within the system. And that's what I tell people. You know, Jesus said, give Caesar's what is Caesar's and give God's what is God's. So that's what I think about, is we operate in a system. We have to learn is, what are the rules? What is the, how can we operate? And then we follow the rules. And that's where we look at the system that we're in. We're in the Federal Reserve System. So it's not a perfect one, but it's the one that where we're at right now. So then you use the rules that they allow you to do. So that's why I tell people, get caught up on the Fed, they get caught up on this. You know, don't get caught up on that. I mean, there's some things you cannot change. And I tell people this, many people, they want to say, talk bad about the Federal Reserve, all that it's by Jewish bankers. They want to say all this stuff, but that's prophecy fulfilled. Deuteronomy spoke about it. I will make you the lender, not the borrower. I will make you the lender, not the borrower. You got to understand that God said it. He prophesied it. So why are we trying to fight it? And I had a rude awakening. I used to be a libertarian at one time in my youth, but I look at the things and try to really analyze things, that there's certain things that you cannot change. God said, I will make you the lender and not the borrower. So that's prophecy fulfilled. So I try to work within that system. So we will go into a one world system. God said it. So then, as a Christian investor, I say to myself, okay, God has put me on this earth right now to occupy the land, to subdue the land, to take dominion over the land. So, my job as an investor is to take the season or the era or the years that I'm on earth and use it to multiply what God has given me, whether it's to give to my legacy or set up my legacy, whether it's to give to my local church, whether it's to keep going on my calling. You see, God has given a seed, the seed to the sower. And as believers, we are here for a short amount of time. And sometimes we lose focus. I'm homesick for a place I've never been. Heaven. You see, many people they think that this is all that's it. No, this 80 and 90, 100 years that we're on earth is a blip if you compare it to eternity. So I was made for heaven. And that's the thing that I want to encourage you guys. We were all made for heaven. So as entrepreneurs, your job is if God has give you an idea, okay, well, let's use that to fund the kingdom of God. I'm not against having nice things, but there's more to life than fancy stuff. There's more to life than that. It's about souls. We've lost track on what God has made us to be. It's all about souls. Investing is just a way, not the only way, but it's a way where gives us income, where we can affect the next generation, where we can affect the next city, where we can affect a neighborhood, where we can affect a region. I'm all for sending people across the pond. I'm all for that. But don't step over broken and hurting people to go help broken and hurting people. Your neighbor across the street needs Jesus too. So we have to look at Christians, entrepreneurs, that sometimes the only Bible that people read is you. How are you acting out in the place of business? How are you acting in your place of business? Do your employees follow you? Do they look up to you? Do they say, I want to be just like him? You got to remember, the only Bible people read is sometimes is us. Are you being that example? Are you being who God's called you to be, not just in the church, but in the marketplace? You're only one favor away from an open door. Some of you, the way you act in business is what opens the door for you. I know people that you read scripture and it says that the skilled person will be in front of kings. I look at that in the world of real estate and woodworking. You look at people who have just an ability to just fix anything. Those are skill sets. Some of you have gifts in technology, gifts in marketing, gifts in scripture, gifts in sewing, gifts in fabric, gifts in many other things. Use those gifts to propel your ministry in the marketplace. Now, I know not all of us can be God's hands and feet. I want to be God's hands and feet sometimes, but not all of us can be God's hands and feet. Sometimes somebody's got to be the asshole. So you start looking at this and you want to and you start looking at yourself in the marketplace as being the person that's there, that's God appointed, that God has put there to affect the nation. Now I want to get off this little tangent that I was on, and I want to talk about what's affecting the market. I want to look at some charts. I want to share, but I need to change the layout. Hopefully I do it right this time. Okay, let's look at this right here. We have a chart of the S&P. This is actually the Russell. Let's go to the S&P 500. We have a chart of the S&P 500 right here. This little line right here, I call the AI boom. This is Trump 2.0. This is President Trump's how the market has been going since he's been back in office. And we are at a place where we are in close to recessionary territory right now. The S&P 500 has retreated heavily from the $7,000 range. It was around the 6,900 and it has retreated 600 points in the last 5 weeks. This war in Iran is not of help to any of people who have 401ks. Most of your 401ks are pegged to the S&P 500. And if you're in the VOO, if you're the SPY, if you're in Fidelity's version of the S&P 500 and many others, you have had a hard drop in your portfolio. Same thing we could say with the NASDAQ. Let's look at the NASDAQ 100 down 454 points on just Friday alone, 1.93%. And if you look at these charts, these places are falling in places where they've been before. Now, could this be a consolidation in this range for the NASDAQ? Now, if it keeps falling and bouncing in this $2,300 range, perhaps. But if it falls and if it continues to fall, we could see it fall another 1,000 points. And that's not far fetched in a week or two. And if we see that this is in a recessionary territory right now, that we have to say is the Trump administration right now is currently in a recession. We have to say that. Many of you who were bullish on Daddy Trump are getting a rude awakening. Not everything goes up. Not everything is straight up. Many people get this misinterpreted. Now, if you are a patient investor, that's the balance. These downturns don't scare you. These downturns only tell you is load up, keep buying. That's the difference when you're a short-term trader and a long-term trader. Now, you have a lot of money in the sidelines. So this is what you have to think about this. Many people are getting laid off. And if they are inadequately funded or have enough savings, you can best guarantee they're tapping into their 401ks right now. So people pulling their money out of the market is a byproduct of a lot of these layoffs. So now we're starting to see that. So let's look at the Dow Jones. Again, Dow Jones, it was in the $50,000 range and it has retreated to the 4,500. I mean, look at that precipitous drop. I mean, that was just decisive. And if it's following the moving average right here, it's nuts. It's following the 9-day moving average I have right now. It is nuts right here. You start seeing that the VIX is up. Let's look at Apple, a couple of other stocks. Again, I mentioned this last week. Apple, I drew this months ago. It's in a range where it could go up. Now, that could also be the other way around. If Apple follows the trend of the stock market and continues to go down, that place that I have, that red line that I have right here, that I have as a supply, some people call it a floor, they call it support. There's many different phrases. This floor or this supply can now become this demand zone right now can now become a demand supply zone, which is there's too much supply. Or if you're the support and resistance, this support right line right here can now become the resistance line. So we're at a pivotal place in a lot of stocks. Now, if you're the long-term investor, like I mentioned before, could this be a place that you say to yourself, you know what? I want to load up. This could be a place where you say to yourself, I want to load up. This could be a place. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla, again, another down day. Tesla, I had to change my strategy with Tesla. I'm doing more credit spreads with Tesla. Why? Because option trading with Tesla is not working unless you're doing day trading. You can't do position trading or swing trading on Tesla right now. The premiums that they want for them are just nuts. And then as soon as it turns, they suck out the premium. It's all air. Even if you're buying close to 70 Delta. So you start seeing Teslas just having a terrible time with trying to stay up. Tesla's going to have a somewhat turbulent summer. Their sales are terrible. They don't even know what they want to be now. So I wonder if Tesla, is it going to be a AI company, a robotic company, or does it want to be a car company? My opinion, I think Tesla just wants to be a robot company, not a car company. The car was just to get it in the market, to bring income. So that's my opinion here. So let's look at Netflix. Netflix. I like Netflix, but I'm also Netflix is in a place where I drew this months ago. I got in Netflix and then I got in this area right here, but then I got stopped out. And as soon as I got stopped out, it just took off. So it's also in a range where it could bounce up or it could go back down. There's so many places, so many stocks that in a places of indecision. And a lot of it has to do with what's happening in the stock market. Everybody's worried. Nobody know what's gonna happen. So you start seeing a lot of indecision in the stock market. You're starting to see gold bouncing a little up, but not much. Silver, kind of way off his highs. I mean, if you sold up here, you did phenomenal. I've held on to silver. I've bought over here in the $20 range. So I'm doing all right. But like, man, look at this shot up. Now, silver could it consolidate a little bit in this range? Yeah, it could. I could see that consolidating. Ethereum, another one, gotten beat up. Ethereum's gotten beat up, and I just don't know, man. I love Ethereum, but it's just until the Clarity Act, you're gonna see a lot of headwinds on Bitcoin. You're gonna see a lot of headwinds on that. Bitcoin right here, it's just gotten beat up, man. Bitcoin, all crypto, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, HBAR, they all gotten beat up. All those stocks have gotten beat up. All those coins have gotten beat up. Let's look at some stocks. Some other stocks. Micron Technology, another one that's just it almost looks like it has like a little M pattern. But Micron right now is one of those stocks. If you like you playing options, all right? If you like playing options, doing credit spreads on these type of stocks is where you make your money right now. I'm doing the same thing on Tesla. So Micron Technology, this is in a place of indecision right now. Could it bounce up? It could. Could it go down? Yep, it could go down. And if it goes down, this 329 might be that leg where it could keep going. But then if it's a floor, is really like 261 if it falls down. But Micron Technology, I would keep that in my watch list right now. BMNR, I'm not even talking about Bitmine. I don't know. Should I? Because this stock has gotten beat up. Tom Lee's just, you know, it is what it is, buddy. I like you. You my dude, but this stock has gotten beat up. I've actually had to exit. I exited my position. It was too risky. Bitmine. Uh let's look at Nextera. Energy has been consolidating at that $91 range. This one is an interesting one. This is one that if you're playing long term, I like this stock. If you're playing the long term, this stock is to me is we need energy. Nexera is one of those that I would say would be the one that I would be my portfolio along with others. Let's look at energy fuels. UUU, another one that a lot of retail traders are starting to jump into right here. I'm seeing a lot of that with this stock right here. Oklo, talked about Oklo before. Oklo, I like right here, this range right here. Let me see if I can erase this. All right, let me see this. Okay, let's see where Oklo. Oklo right now, this is the range where there's this is a consolidation range right here. Look at it from here. This is my lines where I'm going for. Now, if it goes down, this is the next floor right here, the $20 range. If it goes back up, that's a ceiling. I mean, you have a lot of stocks that find themselves. I think Oklo might be one that I would consider. I would say I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm an opinionator. Oklo may look like it's in a place where you want to maybe put this in your watch list and load up if the stock goes up. Oklo. Let's go with Rigetti. You've gotten beat up. Rigetti, it's just gotten beat up. This one at one was a promise. If you bought up here, my goodness, you've gotten beat up. This was a power play stock for many people who were just bullish on quantum computing. This one right here, you gotten beat up. Rigetti, sorry. Some of you are bullish on a lot of this. Let's look at Robinhood. Robinhood, again, it's one of those stocks that I think is in a buy range right here. Let's look at this line right here. Like this is like for me, this could be a place where maybe it might find a floor. But time will tell. If it doesn't, then you're starting to see come into the 46, $45 range if it continues to fall. But I like Robinhood long term. I also like Coinbase long term, actually, because I think they're marketing to the younger people. So the 18-year-old, the 20-year-old, those people are everyone I talk to, they use Robinhood. So I for me is they're building their future customers. So like I look at Coinbase, if you have a long-term vision and you say, man, this is a long-term play and it has fallen from its highs where it was, I would consider buying these stocks. I really would. Coinbase, another one, it's a higher price stock, but when you're dealing with cryptocurrencies, and if you believe that crypto is the future, Coinbase should be on your consideration on your list. So what else? Let's see what else. Netflix, we already did that one. Amazon. Amazon again, it's kind of in the no man's land right now. It's consolidating. If Amazon falls, this is the part right here. This gap right here is never really filled it. I'm looking for this to fall down here to the 191 range. So that's what I'm thinking Amazon's gonna fall. So look for Amazon to fall in the 191 range, 184. If you see that, then you be like, okay, this dude knows what he's talking about. If it doesn't, then hey, I'm an opinionator, right? But definitely look at this big gap. Now, to the other side, I will say this: it will fill this gap too, meaning to the upside. So you have two things where it could do. It could fill because it didn't really fill it all the way. It could fill this gap all the way here, but I could tell you this: one day or in a couple of months, maybe by this year, is going to fill this gap right here to the upside. Like, meaning from the 199 is going to go shoot up to 260 or something like that. If it falls down here to the 183 range, I would definitely load up because you're going to make your money here in the 260 range. So if you're a patient investor, Amazon, people are going to use Amazon. Then Amazon's not going nowhere, even in a energy crisis. So QQQ, let's look at QQQ again. QQQ, I thought it was going to fall down here, but no, it didn't work. Nope. But it did turn around. So this is where floor. This be a floor? No, if not, the QQQ could go down to 538 if it continues to fall. So to me, is everything in Iran is going to play a pivotal. Everything in Iran is going to play a pivotal role right now. So we don't know what's going to happen over the next few days, but what we do know is that who controls everything, which is God Almighty. Everything that's happening now doesn't shock God. It may shock us, but it doesn't shock God. And what I always say, as a Christian nation, we stay prepared, we stay vigilant, we do what God has called us to do. I want to share with you that if you're going through a situation and you feel like, hey, I don't know what to do, always remember that you can always go back to God. He's still on the throne. He's still the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And no matter what happens during this time in this season, I hope to speak to you guys soon. God bless you.